Welcome, everyone, to the Best of Markham Podcast, brought to you by me, Igor Klibanov from FitnessSolutionsPlus.ca, your personal trainers for chronic conditions. Here with me today is Councillor Andrew Keyes. Andrew, thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks for having me, Igor. I appreciate it. Um, as far as being a councillor, I was first elected in 2018, so I've just about completed two terms. I will be running again for my third, so hopefully everything works out and it'll be a third term. So I'm a councillor Ward 5 in Markham. That's a ward council. Ward 5 is sort of the east end of the city, so it would be Markham, Stouffville Hospital, Mountjoy,
Yeah.
Cornell area.
Hmm.
And in addition, I guess, to my counselor role, I'm also chair of Destination Markham, which is sort of the tourism and visitor economy. And I get a fair bit. Have a fair bit of involvement as well with economic development, and I guess part of my day-to-day job is helping small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and large businesses, if you will,
Hmm.
find a home and be successful in the city of Markham.
Yep, yeah, very relevant to A, citizens of Markham, and B, this podcast in particular, which is heavily about entrepreneurship. So how did you end up becoming a counselor?
Um, I guess it was a long journey for myself. I didn't get involved politically until probably 2000, 2005, I guess. I was raising a family and
Hmm.
very busy. I had my own small business as well, so that kept me fairly busy. But I guess at some point, kids grew to a certain age where it wasn't. They didn't need me around as much, if you will.
Right.
And I guess I had the opportunity. I've always had an interest in I guess civic engagement and politics. We all do, I guess, have an opinion.
Hmm.
And I guess it was around 2003, 2004, where I guess there was an election and I put up my hand to volunteer. As I said, I had the time. I felt passionately about things, and I thought I would just get involved as a volunteer. And that really was my ambition at the time. And little did I know that once you put your hand up to help out, there's a big machinery that sort of drags you in and takes over. So I guess from those early days of just knocking on doors and helping a local candidate, I guess along the way, I guess I got a feeling that it was a worthwhile way to spend my time. There, people were more receptive at the doors
Hmm.
than I had expected. I expected a lot more cynicism, but I did find that people were actually interested and they could be engaged if you approach them the right way.
Hmm.
And from there, it was, getting some encouragement from others around me saying, you seem to have a knack for this. You should consider it. So you give it some thought. And then the next thing you know, I'm managing people's campaigns and getting deeper and deeper into the machinery,
Right.
and eventually became a candidate myself. I should also say that at the time I was involved, not politically. I was the president of a ratepayers association
Right.
in Cornell, which I guess attached me somewhat to the municipal world of what goes on. And I had previously been I was the founder of a fairly large trade organization in the 90s, where I really got an appreciation for, I guess, the difference, a few good people getting together and putting their hands up and saying, let's do something could make. So
Hmm.
that taught me that getting involved can make a difference. Often it can be frustrating because you do have to learn how to get along well with others.
Hmm.
And sometimes that's a challenge. But as I say, that was really the formation where it's like, it matters getting involved. And I think you're rewarded when you see people responding positively.
Hmm.
And obviously, success is nice. But it took me a while. As I said, I started participating as a volunteer in 2003, and it wasn't really until 2018 that I was in elected office.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
have to say that it's something that I am really enjoying, and
Okay, good.
it's the part that's satisfying really is the ability to help people.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Um, for the average citizen to navigate the sort of the walls of government and getting things done is challenging. So when people reach out to me with concerns or issues that need help, I find that being in office really opens a lot of doors and allows me to help them in a
Yeah.
sort of time efficient way. And that, as I say, that's everything from residents all the way to small businesses. Just today, somebody was interested in starting a business, and they were looking at a piece of land, and so they just to give you a sample, they approached me and asked if I could help identify whether it was an appropriate use for that land. That's something
Right.
that is fairly technical. And so I haven't resolved that one yet, but I'm working on it as we speak. So,
Right.
so the email's gone out and the questions are being asked, and I will get back to this individual with an answer,
Yeah.
hopefully by the end of the day. And as I said, it's just a small thing, but it can be helpful.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that actually brings it ties into my next question very well, which is you touched on it a little bit, but since most people don't know, what does a counselor do? Like, what does your day-to-day entail?
Yeah, it's quite a lot of people, I guess, as residents, their contact with a counselor is often, and I would say 90%, something's gone wrong or something is awry,
Hmm.
and they need to get some resolution. And at the municipal level, it's they didn't pick up my garbage today, or the tree in front of my house is dead, or I'm
Hmm.
not happy with certain. So they'll approach the counselor because I am their elected representative.
Right.
And so I encourage people, I want to hear what they have to say. So these are usually negative things. I want to know
Right.
about it. And then obviously, if I am able to, I want to see if those issues can be resolved. So
Hmm.
that's one big part of it. And I would call that um, resident constituent relations,
Right.
managing constituent concerns.
Hmm.
But there's a whole I would say there's three major roles that a ward counselor or a counselor plays. That's one, which I think is probably the most obvious
Hmm.
to residents. The second one then is on the I guess on the legislative side. Council. I'm one of 13 voting members of Markham Council. So there's 8 ward councillors, 4 regional councillors, and then there's the mayor. That adds up to 13. Each
Right.
one of us has one vote on council. And what we do on council is make decisions that affect the entire city.
Hmm.
Those are decisions about budget. Those are decisions about how we look forward and how we see the city growing.
Hmm.
So they're important decisions. Those are the states. So those are policy decisions. Those are decisions to approve applications for development. So that's a large part.
Right.
That's the part that again people perhaps are less familiar with. And then thirdly, I sit on a number of committees and boards as a member of council. And those are separate from council. For example, I'm the chair of Destination Markham, which is a sort of an arm's length body that looks at the tourism and tourism marketing for the city. So there's
Yeah.
a board of directors there. I sit as the chair of Land and Buildings Committee for the city of Markham, and that is the committee that looks at real estate transactions, so buying and selling and leasing of real estate for the city of Markham. So it's a little more mundane, but all of these committees have a role, decisions that have to be made, and so that's the third part, which is the, I guess, committee work. So you've got
Hmm.
the council work, the committee work, and then all the constituent work.
God, okay. You got a lot on your plate.
Yeah, yeah, it's all good though.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly.
As I said, I'm really enjoying it. There's variety, so every resident is different.
Yeah.
Every resident has sort of a little different perspective on things and a little bit different concerns. There's some common ones; those are easy to manage because you hear the same thing over and
Yeah.
over again. Obviously at the legislative side, that's important policy work
Yeah.
where that's where I'm representing the voice of my residents, and that
Hmm.
can be challenging, right? I do believe that I was elected to represent their their concerns and their views. They don't always align. Um, so that's the part that I guess is a little bit more challenging in terms of how I vote and how I make decisions
Hmm.
and how it's informed by what I know of my residents and my constituents. So I always
Right.
encourage them to let me know
Yeah,
what they
exactly.
think. I'm just one voice, but my job really, as I said, is to represent what they want and what they feel. And
Yeah,
then beyond
exactly.
the local, beyond just the local rep, the individuals, you have to look beyond Ward 5 and you have to at times look at the whole city. So something that may not be perfect for Ward 5 might be really positive for the city of Markham. So there's a lot of that, um, I guess, give and take that has to take place on council. You have to wear two hats. You have to wear a very local hat, but you have to wear a hat that is broader and
Hmm.
thinking of the interests of the citywide.
Understood. Understood. And what's the biggest misconception that residents have about municipal government?
Um, that's a good question. I haven't really thought about it that way. As I said, I think that as I said, they may not, and I know I'm not blaming them. It's I didn't know about half of this stuff when I was elected either in terms of these responsibilities, but they
Hmm.
may not completely appreciate the various other functions that a counselor has
Right.
on their plate. They may again look. Most people will never contact their counselor in their entire life. It's
Hmm.
just not something that comes up. So it comes
Yeah.
up when there's a problem. So often that encounter may be negative. Um, but I guess some of the there are three levels of government. So I guess all three levels would have the same thing. Each level has its various role to play in terms of its jurisdiction.
Hmm.
At the municipal level, for example, in the city of Markham, social services and social housing is not something that is the purview of the city. It's a
Right.
regional, provincial matter. Education is a provincial matter. So one of the things that I do as a counselor when I'm sitting and thinking policy is I try to stay focused on what it is our role is. We are not going to bring peace to the Middle East from Markham City Council, so I
Right.
prefer we don't get into those issues. We
Right.
have to, so some people don't fully appreciate that. Um, and that it maybe is a misconception, but generally I think they're fairly intelligent, they're fairly well informed, um, but and they have their lives to live too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't had many negative encounters with residents who don't understand, and I'm polite enough. I'll just explain
Right.
and will help them. Right? I say, hey, anything you need, give me a call. If I can't help you, I'll tell you, or I will let you know where to get help. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the way that I would position it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good way to go on about it. If you can help, you will help. If you can't help, you refer them to somebody who can.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what makes Ward 5 unique?
Oh, it's my well, it's Ward 5. It's my wards, but it's my favorite ward. So one thing, Markham is like, well, it's probably the most diverse ethnically community or city in Canada.
Hmm.
Um, Ward 5 might be the most diverse ward in all of Markham, and it's just the mix of ethnicities, nationalities is quite diverse,
Hmm.
which makes it very, very interesting. It's not just interesting I like it I don't want to get into the politics of it, but
Yeah.
it's not weighted one way or the other. It's
Yeah.
pretty even keeled, which I really like. Um, it's a relatively from an urban to it's an old, obviously old in the sense that it's got a lot of farmland. 75% of the geography in Ward 5 is urban, sorry, is rural. So that's
Right.
farmland, green space. 65% of Ward 5 is the Rouge National Urban Park.
Right.
And then we've got the other end of the spectrum. We have condominium developments coming in at 40 stories, for
Yeah.
example.
Yeah. Exactly.
So between Greenland and Valley lands and lots of it, we've also got the the intensification that's happening around Mount Joy and around Markham Stouffville Hospital,
Yeah.
which has a bus terminal, and then everything in between. So it's really, as I say, I love the diversity, not just of the people, but of also the landscape and the
Yeah.
challenges. So I get a little bit of everything. And I would say, apart from uh, the heritage, we have some heritage assets. In other words, very old homes
Yeah.
and assets, but mostly it's newer, like last 25, 30 years and forward. So it's younger families, and as I said, they're I guess accustomed to change.
Hmm.
They're accepting of change, and I don't want to knock the other wards, but some of the other wards are a little bit more um, the same, and perhaps, and I don't mean older in age, but they might have been built 50, 60 years ago,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of resistance to change from those communities. Whereas in Ward 5, there is an openness
Okay.
that,
More,
a
more progressive.
recognition that, yeah, a recognition that we probably need more housing and different built forms. We need to obviously protect our green spaces and all of those things. So as I said, I really enjoy the mix
Yeah.
of residents, the mix of geography. We've got a large hospital, which is a great asset as well.
Absolutely.
Um, so yeah, lots to like about Ward 5.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the diversity would be the key word of Ward 5, both the
Yeah,
people
and
as
as I
well as
say,
the
there's not just
landscapes.
it's not just ethnic, it's
No, exactly.
the whole gamut.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's great.
Ethnically, I mean, my wife and I, we live here in Unionville, but there's,
Okay.
yeah, there's like just on my little street, which is a tiny little cul-de-sac. We have, well, myself, I'm a Russian Jew. My wife is a Filipina. Next door
Okay.
to our left is an Italian couple. To our right, Chinese couple. Across the street from us is another mixed couple, Caucasian and black.
Yeah.
Indians, Persians, yeah, just on a whole little cul-de-sac. So yeah, I totally
Yeah.
hear what you're saying about diversity of both
Yeah.
Markham, but also Ward
And
5.
it really that does it, and it has enriched our city. There's no question about it. You would appreciate obviously the food choices
Oh yeah.
and the cultural festivals. It's really quite something.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. We love the cultural festivals. Taste of Asia,
Yeah.
the Unio Bandstand, amazing. Yeah. Now, what are some hidden gems that more people should know about?
Okay. So as I mentioned, I'm as chair of Destination Markham. Part
Yeah,
of our job, our role,
you're the perfect
is
person to
to
ask about that.
yeah. And my background, I don't think I got it. My background was advertising and marketing before I got
Uh,
into politics.
right.
So my entire career was focused on um,
Yeah, promotion.
identifying unique. Well, it's first you have to identify what makes you special,
Yeah,
what distinguishes yourself. So your
yeah,
small business operators could also appreciate that. That's something if you're in a crowded market, um, you want to distinguish yourself. So the city of Markham,
yes,
again, the diversity is a big one, but to be honest, that's not unique to
yeah,
Markham.
right,
I mean, it's Canada, right?
right.
Some areas are more than others, but like just I would say that it's what the diversity brings to the city of Markham that makes us special and unique, and identifying that so the foods, as I said, so as Destination Markham, we are consciously working on defining our brand,
Hmm.
um, and what we're finding in terms of what we have. So it's a sort of like you don't reinvent it, you don't make it something. You look at what your strengths are and you accentuate those. So our
Hmm.
strengths clearly are in our food. So Taste of Asia is no accident that there's a food connotation in there,
Yep.
but we've got some fabulous restaurants of all kinds, and we look at that destination sort of piece. Obviously, the heritage, Markham Unionville, where you said you live, is a certainly an asset.
Hmm.
We're also now trying to explore and grow. Sort of when we look at the visitor economy, the city of Markham is becoming known as a destination for sporting events,
Yeah.
competitions, And that's a focus that we're looking at as well. Obviously, we had the Pan Am Games in 2015,
Hmm.
and it brought a lot of people here. It brought a lot of infrastructure here.
Yep.
Now, as you probably heard, we have the Honda Indy coming
Yep.
to Markham, which is technically it's a very very large sporting event. So those are dovetailing nicely. So people will come for the race, but they will discover that Markham has an awful lot more to offer while they're here. Beautiful hotels, fabulous
Hmm.
restaurants, things to do, shopping, all the things that we love about Markham. They'll
Yeah.
discover that, and that'll grow and bring opportunities to expand on that. So the other area we're looking at is Markham is also known as high tech capital.
Yeah.
So and then specifically within the high tech, we've got lots of very large high tech companies here. We've got a bit of a niche in the automotive tech sector. A lot of people don't know this, that Multimatic is the maker of the Ford GT.
Hmm.
They're located here in Markham. General Motors, Tesla. So the Honda Indy again starts to strengthen that brand. So we're also building the technology hub for automotive, and we are going to be actively looking for growing that sector. When you get those communities and those clusters, it's easier to attract others.
Hmm.
And again, they're mostly white collar. It's not heavy manufacturing. It's the IT side of things mostly. So it's very clean, high paying, and great for the city.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Lots of great hidden gems, and not
Yeah.
going to be hidden very much longer.
Well, yeah, no, lots of hidden gems on every level. I mentioned the Rouge National Urban Park. That's just getting started in
Yeah.
terms of what it's going to bring. So
Yeah.
I'm also on the advisory board for the Rouge National Urban Park, which is federal. It is at 65% of Ward 5.
Yeah.
But as that develops over time with trails, and we have the Rouge River, so we have a lot of natural assets here as well, and so it's a really quite a nice package. And you can't deny one of the reasons we got the Honda Indy was our proximity to the city of Toronto.
Yeah. Of
So
course.
you can't deny that that's also an asset.
Hmm.
It's nice to be close sometimes, but not quite in there. So people are attracted to being kind of close, but I don't want to live in downtown Toronto. So that's also
Yes.
attracting. It's attracting families and it's attracting businesses as well. It's a great place to be. We have access. Our streets aren't quite as clogged as they are in the city of Toronto.
My wife
Um,
and I used to
and
live
it's
in
something we have to work. Yeah,
yeah. My wife and I used to live in North York, on Leslie and Shepherd, and man, just
yeah.
to get from Leslie and Shepherd just to the 404 was such a nightmare.
Yes, and it wasn't always that way, but I think again, population is growing, the number of
Yeah.
cars on the road is increasing, but there has not been, the road infrastructure hasn't kept up, and
No,
that's a
exactly.
problem. And yeah, public transit. So these are all the challenges of a growing city. Um, we recognize the population is growing. There's only so much space, and our role, when I talk about that middle role of policy and legislation, is how do we make decisions that will make people's lives better, or at least not more miserable. If that's sort of, and traffic is a challenge, no question about it. But as I
Yeah.
said, we I feel fortunate that we're at a point in our development where we have a bit of a clean slate, and we're able to make decisions today that will
Hmm.
have a positive impact. Some other cities, have been around a lot longer, and they have issues and problems that have always been there, and they're harder to solve. We can make decisions today that are based on the needs of today and the near future. So that's a real advantage.
Yeah, yeah, definitely an asset. Now, besides tourism, you also mentioned that you're also responsible for business, small business, medium business, large business. So, are there any initiatives underway to help entrepreneurs attract new businesses, or to help entrepreneurs or attract new businesses?
Well, I'm not. So as I say, I get involved in economic development and small business, but I'm not sitting officially. But I can
Hmm.
say that the city of Markham, we've hired a new, well, it's not that new now. I guess time flies, but we have a new director of economic development who also wears the the Destination Markham president hat. So he's also in the tour. So he's doing both. And the reason for that is the message and the package is very similar. In other
Mhm.
words, we need to package Markham as an attractive place to visit and to do business and to live. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of common elements there, which is why we decided to put that all under one all under one roof. And I work very closely with that department. But so part of the role there is providing those support services to small businesses that are just getting started. So
Mhm.
the city of Markham has a small business support group um, that is there to, if you have an idea or you have some questions. I don't want to get into the details, the specifics.
Right.
Perhaps I can give you some information that you can post on your website, and it's all on the Markham website. But
Yeah.
yeah, anything from um, finding land, appropriate land or lease space,
Mhm.
to tapping into government funding. The city
Yeah.
of Markham doesn't have a ton, but we have relationships at other levels of government.
Mhm.
And if certain business opportunities are look like they would be an excellent fit, we're certainly there to help.
Yeah.
But as I say, so anything from banking to like banking support, and just getting people started, those support services exist.
Yeah, yeah. And one other thing I want to add is there's of course the Markham Small Business Center.
That's right.
I've been volunteering with them for the last 10 years, since 2016,
Yeah,
as a small business mentor, and I help budding entrepreneurs with their sales and
yeah.
marketing. I don't do the land stuff, I don't do accounting or administration,
Yeah,
but
but it's
marketing,
quite a package. It's quite
yes.
a package again, depending on the nature of the business. But you're
Yeah,
right. That's the service that we have, and it can be daunting for somebody just starting out. Where do I go?
yeah, yeah,
Who do I
exactly.
talk to? And it's nice to get a sort of a lay of the land. Um, Board of Trade is that's not a city initiative, obviously, but it's something that we would support as well, and we would
Mhm.
work together with them as well. So an opportunity for networking and meeting other small business owners.
Yep, yep. I used to be a member, and yeah, lots of great
Mm,
breakfast events after hours, etc.
yeah.
Now, for the fun part, rapid fire questions. Um,
Okay.
what is your favorite restaurant in Ward 5?
Oof.
I know it's hard to pick
Um,
one.
Now this is not. Don't laugh. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Laugh. One thing about Ward 5, and it's a standing joke, with all of the people, all of the development, for some reason, we don't have a licensed establishment, for example.
Okay.
I can't go anywhere for a beer. The coffee shops, if for some reason, there's coffee shop in the hospital, but nowhere else. So really, for me to get a decent meal, other than Harvey's, I got a Harvey's, and I love a Harvey's hamburger.
Yeah.
Um, and But most of the eating establishments are not in Ward 5. It's something that the residents are clamoring for.
Right.
But there aren't many. But no, as I said, so I love a hamburger, and there's a Hakka Chinese restaurant that we
Yeah.
mostly get our takeout from, and Markham Sushi on Highway 7,
Yeah.
if you like sushi. And then my daughter-in-law is Vietnamese, so I eat a lot of Vietnamese food, and
Right.
there's no shortage of those. You know this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't pick one.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. Whenever anybody asks me to pick one restaurant anywhere, never mind like one restaurant in Markham, it's very hard. Just on Main Street,
Yeah.
Unionville, there's like four that I like.
Well, again, and the patio, I love the Arms, for instance,
Yeah.
because I like their patio, and it's fabulous.
Yeah.
Um, the school, I find myself going there more business lunches on 14th. So that there's so much, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
great.
Absolutely. No
Yeah,
shortage of great restaurants to pick from. What about your favorite coffee shop in Ward 5?
that's what I'm saying. All we have is
Yeah.
Tim Hortons in the hospital. Now, a
Ah,
new one opened up, and I've been there a few times. I wish I could remember the name, but it's on Borough, north of Highway 7. But they've been there Cornell's been there for 20 years.
yeah.
And for some reason, they've had a hard time making it work. So there's a real shortage of coffee shops. I gotta say, Wayne's Cup. I gotta give
Yep,
them a
yep.
shout out.
I've been there. Yep, and
Wayne's Cup
yep,
is, they hire special needs young
yep.
adults So I love to have meetings there if I can. So they're just on 48 on the east side.
Yep.
Anytime you have an opportunity, you're familiar with it. I love to support them. I think it's a great concept too.
Yep.
So that's a coffee. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention them.
Yeah, yeah. One of my other podcast guests, Brett Young from Young Chiropractic, when I asked him, "What's your favorite business in Markham besides your own?" he said Wayne's Cup. So good call as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, I do
And
what I can to support them.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, great place. And last question: What's your favorite annual event in Ward 5?
Well, we used to have the picnic for
Yeah,
close to 20 years. Um, it didn't happen, but we would get 2,000 people out. So it used to be the first or second Sunday of August, but that speaks, and it was we'd get 2,000 residents out. Everybody had a great time. It seemed the weather was always great. But there's an example of a few people getting together, volunteering, and saying, "Let's do this." And if that doesn't happen, it the events don't happen. And I think we had a bit of fatigue, volunteer fatigue,
yeah,
and it just they couldn't get the support anymore. I'm hopeful that it'll come back,
right.
and they'll start doing it again because this community certainly enjoyed it. And the Christmas, or sorry, the New Year's firework, or New Year's, the Canada Day fireworks at the Renish Church is always a big
Yeah,
event. They also do a big festival up there. So that's about it.
fantastic.
Canada Day
Well,
is
it
always
was.
fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, Andrew, it was fantastic learning about Ward 5 and more broadly, speaking of Markham, cool hidden gems. What do you guys do as counselors? I really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, my pleasure, and I appreciate you asking me on.
Absolutely.